Hi everybody, this is your weekly horoscope for Monday the 7th of August going through until Sunday the 13th of August 2017. It's really nice to be with you today. I hope you got through last week okay. It was a really emotional week. In my forecast last week I was already feeling the emotions and it was an emotional week. So I hope you've come through that okay. But the great thing is I'm kind of telling you a story, and this week is an extension of the story I told you last week, because last week all of this emotional stuff came up and I kind of made the analogy of the gold rush, you know, where you have to really look at all the feelings because there are real treasures within some of those feelings. So that's all come up, and now we're in eclipse season. Here on Monday the 7th of August we've got the first eclipse. That's a partial lunar eclipse. And then on the 21st of August, we've got another eclipse. That's a total solar eclipse. I'll make separate videos on this. The video on the partial lunar eclipse in Aquarius, which happens on Monday the 7th of August, that's already out. So have a look. Put the link in the description. And the video for the solar eclipse I will also make today, and I'll put the link in the description. So have a look at those. The eclipses are great because they either happen on the north node of the moon or on the south node of the moon, okay? And this partial lunar eclipse that happens in Aquarius happens on the south node of the moon. So here on Monday, the 7th of August, all of that emotional stuff that came up last week and all of the emotional kind of things we've been through, it's been there for a reason. It's all come up so that you were able to pick out those little gold nuggets, and now the eclipse is about dumping all of it and going and just letting it all out and just getting rid of it. So Monday the 7th of August, you're going to have a great sense of peace internally. You're going to have consideration for other people and the ability to recognize what to let go of internally and what no longer works for you. So this whole emotional process of, things organically arising and coming up out of your system, it's not been for nothing. It's been there in the build up to this eclipse, so you've got stuff to actually dump. So personally, I already feel much better because it kind of contextualizes why feelings have been so strong, because I have been doing, I'm talking about myself now, but this applies to all of us, because during this emotional time, the way I looked at it was looking at certain personal relationship things that I could let go of. So on Monday, the 7th of August, it's this lunar eclipse. So it's also a full moon. So it's a time of energy just being abundant and being able to feel this Aquarius humanitarian energy for yourself and for others, and to just let go of what no longer works. It's a process of organically just releasing things. The other thing about this, because it's an eclipse, it's a good time to tie up loose ends. So especially if they have to do with friendships or businesses that no longer work for you, the things that you're letting go, sometimes you'll have to tie up loose ends. You'll either have to, have that conversation to bring the relationship to a close, or you'll have to, pay off the creditors or pay back some money if you've got some businesses. It's a time of it's a good time to let go and to tie up the loose ends so you can be done with things today. Now we move on then to Tuesday the 8th of August, and the moon moves into Pisces at 9:57 in the evening. Okay, so the moon in Pisces is immediately much more spiritual and much more emotional and much more loving and caring. So Tuesday is a day of great self-knowledge, introspection and understanding of others. So you're fully in kind of Aquarius Pisces mode, where you're focused on humanity and humanitarianism, being self-sacrificing and helping other people and helping yourself in a way, because it's all about having all this stuff that's come up, letting it go and seeing other people going through the same process and having compassion for them. So Tuesday isn't particularly eventful. If you're at work or if you're out and about, I don't see it as particularly eventful. I think it's really, really quite quiet, where you can understand yourself and really see things very clearly and objectively without getting involved emotionally, which means that you can really amend and improve some difficult relationships in your life. So if you're struggling with your siblings, you know, those can often be very challenging, relationship with siblings, especially adult siblings. So if there are problems there, Tuesday is a wonderful day to kind of get back on the same page and to understand each other. On Wednesday, the 9th of August, we've got the Pisces moon opposing Mercury in Virgo. Mercury is the communication planet, and in Virgo, it's literally like a machine. It says, I take in information. It's like one of those coin machines. You know, you throw all your coins in and you get a banknote at the end of it. And Mercury in Virgo is like, let's take all this information in, let's make sense of it, let's be super, super rational and cool and uninvolved here and just look at the information for what it is. But this Virgo, Mercury trines Venus in Cancer. And Venus is the planet of love and beauty. She's like the female figure. And in Cancer, she's very nurturing, she's very emotional. So that kind of causes a problem for Mercury in Virgo. With the Pisces moon, feelings beat logic and reason on Wednesday the 9th. So watch out for that. Because of the moon and Mercury and Venus sitting the way they are, logic and reason kind of step aside for love and passion. So the feelings rule supreme on Wednesday, and there's the possibility to kind of just go with feelings, okay? Being spontaneous sometimes can work out, sometimes it doesn't. Mercury isn't in retrograde yet. It goes retrograde on the 12th of August. So if there is a passion or a love that appears on this day, and you're not sure whether it's a certainty that it'll work out, or take a risk. And leave logic and reason and just go for it. You know, because sometimes with relationships, sometimes people on paper look perfect. You meet them and it's totally wrong. And other people just seem totally incompatible on paper. But you meet them and it's like, oh my God, where have you been all my life? So trust your feelings on Wednesday. And you can trust your feelings. Sometimes they can lead us down a garden path, but not on Wednesday, the 9th of August. It's a great day to feel your feelings and to listen to them and to take action based on what your feelings tell you. Now, on Thursday, the 10th of August, the Pisces moon squares Saturn in Sagittarius. Saturn in Sagittarius has made it difficult for a lot of us to kind of find the way forward. Saturn is about keeping things put and creating security and structure. Saturn is the centaur. It's about galloping forward and shooting your arrow at a goal. So they're fundamentally incompatible. So the fact that this moon now forms a relationship with this troublesome energy, and the sun in Leo, happy birthday Leos by the way, sextiles Jupiter, the good luck planet, in Libra, and conjuncts Chiron, the wounded healer, in Pisces. So what this means on Thursday the 10th is that a great personal healing can occur. Whatever you need healed, aim to do it today, especially if it involves relationships, self-esteem, or life purpose. So I again want to highlight and emphasize that last week and the week before, all of this emotional stuff and all of the things that we've been going through, they've not been for naught. They've been there for a purpose. And with this release that we're able to do on Monday, we declutter ourselves. So we create a vacuum in ourselves because we've now let go of some of this negative stuff. Nature abhors a vacuum. Nature will always fill a vacuum. And now we're connected through Venus in Cancer with love and passion and positive things. So if something is going to be filled automatically, organically, it's very likely that it's going to be filled by a personal healing. And whether that personal healing just looks like that you actually are now able to love yourself, that you don't create this dialogue around yourself, this faulty belief, this faulty thinking, whether it's that kind of healing, or whether a healing occurs in your life because someone you love comes into it. It will look different for each of us, but there's great potential for a personal healing on Thursday the 10th. So, hooray, I'm looking forward to it. Now, on Friday the 11th of August, the moon moves into Aries at 5:23 in the morning. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. The astrology is based on the northern hemisphere, and it's based on the seasons. So Pisces is the last dead end of winter, where no one has any food anymore because it's based on the northern hemisphere. It's winter, people have shared, they've been indoors, and they're very self-sacrificing, and they make compromises so they can survive as a community. That's what Pisces is about. Now the moon going into Aries, it's like, okay, winter's over, summer's here, let's go, let's do it. So that moon is a total shift, so you'll feel really, really energized. It's also the last dog day of summer, and I wasn't sure what this meant. I know dog days of summer, I've heard the phrase before, so I looked it up. It's the sultry part of summer supposed to occur during the period that Sirius, the dog star, which is kind of blue in color, you can see it sometimes. So this part of the summer, the dog star, Sirius, rises at the same time as the sun, now often reckoned from July the 3rd until August the 11th. It's a period supposedly marked by lethargy, inactivity, or indolence, which is a good word. So the origin of the dog days are Latin. So this lethargy, inactivity, or indolence, that's one way of looking at it. It's a very British way of looking at it. But that's what we've been experiencing. The inactivity, the lethargy, it's been all of the emotional stuff that's come up that's prevented us from being as productive as we've usually been. I'm sure your productivity hasn't been that great if you've been spending all your time crying, for instance. Okay, so now this is the last dog day of the summer. So now, and it's amazing that the last dog day of summer, considering what it means, is shared by the moon going into Aries, because that means exactly the same thing. I explained it. Pisces is the end of winter, Aries is the first day of spring. So it's like, let's go. So this moon then squares Venus in Cancer, and Venus in Cancer also trines Neptune in Pisces. So today, Friday the 11th, emotions and feelings move aside now for you to take action, especially now that you have the knowledge to move ahead. Because all these feelings, emotions, and letting go, they've given you the knowledge that you need to move forward in life, and Friday the 11th of August is the day to move forward, but be very careful because Mercury goes retrograde the next day. So don't say, oh yeah, Friday was a really great day to take action, but I missed it. It's now Sunday or Saturday. I'm still going to take action. Be really careful because Friday is a very special day, but so is Saturday because Mercury, the communication planet, does go retrograde, and that Friday energy moving ahead ends abruptly on Saturday. So Saturday in itself, Venus and Neptune, they form a relationship with each other, they trine each other, which brings up love and romance. Mercury goes retrograde until the 5th of September. Mercury is communication, ideas. So Mercury retrograde happens 3 or 4 times a year. It happens 4 times this year. I think it happened 4 times last year as well. It's just one of those things. It's about computers not working, and electricity, and errors being made, and contracts that are incorrect being signed, and plane delays, and luggage being lost, and all these little annoying headaches, miscommunications between friends. So that's what we have to look at for Mercury retrogrades, that we really dot the I's and cross the T's and make sure everything's okay. But the great blessing of Mercury retrograde is that we find new ways of communicating. And we always need to find new ways of communicating so that we can become closer and understand each other better. So, remember, we've got all this loving, passion, romantic energy here. Isn't it? It almost seems so unfortunate that we've got all this loving, wonderful energy, and now Mercury goes retrograde, creating the potential for misunderstanding. But the way to work with this is to look at it as a wonderful time for caring and nurturing yourself and other people. With Mercury going retrograde, emotional connections can be strengthened. Intimate communication will strengthen as a result of the difficulties that you have in communication in your everyday life. So, you know, if it's really difficult to get the printer to work at work and the phone lines don't work or something, if you go home to your partner who understands you and loves you and you don't have to say anything, you just look at them and they know what you're feeling. This Mercury retrograde, people in those kind of positions, your relationships will be strengthened during this Mercury retrograde because you will find a more intimate way to communicate with each other, and that may not even include words. So it's good for people who are already in relationships to really deepen your relationship. Now, Sunday the 13th of August, final day of the week, we've got the moon moving into Taurus at 10:41 in the morning, and it trines Mercury retrograde in Virgo, and the Leo sun trines Saturn in Sagittarius. So Sunday, there's the potential for great fun and relaxation. If you do have to work on this Sunday, make sure that you look out for errors and that you don't make mistakes. And if you have to choose a path forward, that you really ask for help from your guides, your angels, your ancestors, and that if you have to sign anything and move forward and change the business or make total changes to your life, maybe you have to move, anything like that, we still have to live our lives when Mercury is retrograde or Mars is retrograde or Venus is retrograde. We can't just sit in our houses and stop. But because it is in retrograde, the best thing is, if you want to have the best day on Sunday, don't work, have fun with friends and enjoy yourself out and about in nature. If you don't have that luxury and you do need to work and communicate and make sure that you're on top of things, then really just make sure that everything is accurate and correct. That's all you have to do. And if there are problems with the computer not starting or the internet connection being down, don't freak, don't flip. It's just one of those things. Mercury retrograde just disrupts things and slows things down. So the way to deal with it is patience and not saying, you stupid computer, I'm going to throw you out the window if you don't work. So it's patience. It's an interesting week because we had all this emotion. We've got the opportunity to dump all of that, so clean it out. And then we have all of this love and romantic energy coming up. And then by the end of the week, we have the moon going into Aries, and it's all about taking action. But then that is immediately complicated by Mercury retrograde. So it's like taking action, but like running into a jail cell or into the wrong direction altogether. So you have to really make sure that you're going in the right direction by asking, what are we doing, instead of what am I doing by myself? And you can ask, what are we doing, when you connect to something wiser and bigger and greater than yourself. You may think you're the wisest person on planet Earth, but unfortunately, I have to burst your bubble and tell you that you don't have all the answers, and none of us do. So it's a good thing to try and ask and find out more, because that's how we progress. So I hope you have a wonderful day. It looks much, much better than last week. It looks really positive. It looks life-changing. It looks amazing. We can really alter the way things are going, especially our ingrained patterns that are unhelpful and unhealthy. So I hope you have a wonderful week. If you would like a personal reading with me, then please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. Click on the readings tab to order your reading. And what I do is I draw up your birth chart by using your place of birth, date of birth, and time of birth. If you don't have the time of birth, I can use sunrise, or I can rectify your chart, which is a process of me looking at certain life facts and finding out the actual time of your birth. I also use this tarot in my readings, and I use numerology. So it allows me to give you a really nice overview of what your life purpose is, what your vocational aptitudes are, what your strengths and weaknesses are, what you're here to do. And then I can also predict what's coming up in future in terms of your love life, career, finance, relationships, spirituality, health, all of that kind of stuff. Please remember to subscribe to this channel. If you watch these videos and you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. It makes a huge difference to me. I hope you have a wonderful week ahead, and I'll speak to you next week.